If your life feels like a constant cycle of overwork, stress, and late night escapes, then this story is for you because I've been working with a guy who's been stuck in that exact trap. And what we uncovered might be the thing that you need to hear. And really what it's about is it ethical and right for you to kind of just 80-20? I mean, like figure out how to just put in the work and no extra for your day job. Is that appropriate or is that wrong? Should you be giving your heart and soul to your business or to the business you work for? Hi, my name is Mark Queppet, head coach over at Frontline Man. I've been helping guys for over a decade now on how to optimize their habits and reach their goals without relying on white knuckle willpower. And today, this is kind of an interesting one because what I was working with this guy around, and it's a pretty common sort of thing I've seen, is like, he works in a, pretty prestigious position in the tech field. His company has a culture of pretty intense work and he's burnt out, right? Like he doesn't love his job. It doesn't bring him a tremendous amount of fulfillment. And it grinds him down and it leads to sometimes porn use in the back end, right? And he doesn't like that because he's just so overworked and dislikes his life so much that he just feels like he needs that kind of escape. And, he's got a wife, he's got a kid, and he doesn't want to be that man. He wants to be more present with them. He wants to have more fun in his life, but he's just got this job that's just like, it's just really kind of grinding him down. And so what I was trying to help him see is that, well, hey man, you got to create a win-win between you and your employer, right? Because right now you've got a win-lose. Like, yes, technically you're getting paid well for this, but the way you're describing it to me, the amount of money you're making, it actually isn't worth it. So you feel like you are getting the raw end of the deal. You feel like you're getting a loss. And so it's your job to figure out how to create a win-win between you and them. Okay. And so there's a couple ways to do this, right? Like if you find yourself in a similar situation, and one of the simplest ways is like, I'm going to work less. And if you follow any of the stuff I've been putting out recently, particularly on like the knowledge worker, like focus plan, like the schedule, how to set up your schedule, you might easily be able to just work less and do the same amount, if not more, if you structure your day properly. Okay. So that would be the first recommendation. And that's what I recommended to him. And he still felt resistance to it because there's this feeling of like, I just got to put in those extra hours. Like, what will my employees think of me? Right. And I started to, talk to him about that. I was like, well, what do you think? Like, do you really care about putting in as much work as they think you should do, or what they would expect you to do if you're producing the same or better results? It's like, no, I guess not. And what he came down to was just like this internal feeling that like, unless I'm grinding myself to the bone, I'm not being a good man. I'm not being the guy that I really want to be. Like it felt like this guilt. And here's the thing is like, I think a lot of guys run into this. And I believe that this is objectification of a man. Right? Like we talk about objectifying women, like turning women into sexual objects and things like that. Well, I think we have a tendency to turn men into work objects where their only value is how much, productive output they create, how much, money they add to the bottom line of a business's bank account or, their family bank account. Right? And I think this is fundamentally dehumanizing. And so, I started to try and like challenge him on this stuff. And what we came to was like, listen, like, say you did work less and you were able to produce the same amount. Awesome. He was on board with that. But then it was like, well, what if I can't? Because he does work really hard. And there is a point where if you just grind and give your life and soul to something, you will produce a lot of output. And I was like, well, what if your productivity does fall and your business is going to get rid of you? What if they fire you? I said, what do you think the chances of that happening would be? He's like, maybe 20 to 30%, which is, actually fairly substantial. Some businesses, they just expect your soul. They expect your blood. And I was like, well, how would you feel about that? Say you did lose that job and then you went and got another job that paid you less, but you could be far happier in. You could show up far more vibrantly for your family. You could live a life that was actually fulfilling to you. And you're like, you know what? That would be worth it. Right? And that's some of the things that we have to look at sometimes where sometimes it's just, it's actually worth it to make less. in terms of money. Sometimes it's worth it if we get more out of it in terms of our overall life, right? And not everybody's like this. Some people, they care about the bottom line. You got the people like the Hormozis out there who are like, they just want to stack the bills, baby. And they want to work every single day. And that's what they want their life to be, because that's what they love, at least hopefully, and it's not something, disordered and soulless. But is that you? That's a big question. Is that you? And are you letting someone else's value system influence you? And this is one of the things I see happen in the world of online social media and stuff like that, is that a lot of times people who build an audience, they're natural outliers. So Hormozi, in terms of his work ethic, ability to focus, interest in making money, etc., he's an outlier. And he built a big following, and he naturally shares what is true for him to these people. And then other people think, well, then that's what I should want, and that's who I should be. That's not the way it works at all. It's like, maybe that's not right for you, right? Just like how not everyone should be a bodybuilder, okay? Not everyone needs to be taking an ice bath every morning, okay? It's like, learn how to listen to your own internal compass. Figure out what actually is important to you. And if you can do this, well, then you can figure out like, yeah, actually, you know what? I might be totally happy just 80-20ing my day job. In fact, sometimes this might actually be necessary, especially if you want to start building something on the side. This is another thing I help guys with, where it's like they want to, build a side business, right? Or build their own personal business while they still have another job. It's like, well, you need to generate time. The only way you're going to do that is if you work less on your main gig. So how are we going to do that? Well, let's figure out the 80-20. Let's find the 20% of work that produces 80% of the results. Do that, cut it off, and let the chips fall where they may. And in a lot of cases, your employer won't even notice. They don't care. Not many people are actually looking at you as closely as you think they are. And if you're bold enough to even just work with them more, be like really clear, be like, hey, what are the things exactly that you want me to get done here, right? Like if I can only prioritize X, Y, and Z, what's the most important? And sometimes just being more communicative with people will allow you to get away with just doing less, because a lot of the stuff we end up doing is just bullshit anyway, right? It's just lower value crap. So just cut out all of that and then reclaim your life. Do better things with that time. So if you've got a life situation where you're trying to figure out how to handle it and you're not really sure how to set up your systems, how to, shift your mind or whatever, like this is something that we can help you with. This is something that we're helping guys with every single day inside of Frontline Man. And so if you would like to see how we could help you in your particular situation, then I would love for you to click the link below and book a call with us. We'll give you a free strategy session. We'll break down your situation and help you figure out here's what you need to do to move forward and reach that next level in your life. See you in the next one. Ooh, yeah.